Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about Stephen King's 2010 collection, Full Dark, No Stars. We'll show you the points to look for when trying to identify first US and first UK editions of the book, as well as provide some thoughts on the work itself. The first US trade hardcover edition was published by Scribner. There's the author photo on the back cover. Inside the jacket, look for a price on the flap of US $27.99. Underneath the jacket, you have gray boards, black on the spine, lettering in red. Pretty good looking color scheme. On the copyright page, look for a number line that includes the number 1. Pretty straightforward, like most of the Scribner first editions. Pretty straightforward to identify, but there's the first US trade hardcover. I'm going to jump over to Noah, who will show the first UK.
Okay, so next up we're looking at the British trade edition of Full Dark, No Stars. This book was published, of course, by Hodder and Stoughton, King's UK publisher. The price on the jacket flap is $18.99 UK. Can you see it? Oh, hard to eliminate the glare. There we go. I think you can see that. It has some nice blue end papers. And on the copyright page, to see if you have a first printing, it should just have a solitary number 1 right there. Other than that, it's sort of a bare bones, typical Hodder black boards on the book. And let's see, that's about it. Yeah, nothing too interesting about this, but there it is, the British first edition.
So I've said it before in some of my other videos that a lot of attention is lavished on the older books, the classic books, generally the ones from the 70s and the 80s that have gone on to become so iconic and so deeply rooted in our pop culture even today that it's easy to overlook. It's easy to kind of discount some of the newer books, the ones from the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and so on. And Full Dark, No Stars, I think, is definitely one of those that deserves a closer look. It's a novella collection. There's 4 longer pieces in the book. In my opinion, it's an absolute classic highlight of Stephen King's entire bibliography. It stands shoulder to shoulder, I think, with probably his ultimate novella collection, Different Seasons. I remember reading the collection when it first came out and just being absolutely floored. Stephen King, in some ways, as he's gone on, as he's gotten older, sort of the rough edges have kind of been smoothed over in his writing. He's not quite as visceral, not quite as gritty all the time, which is not to say that he can't be that, but in general, his books have, I think, mellowed with age. Full Dark, No Stars goes to some incredibly disturbing, incredibly dark places. It's almost reminded me in some places of Jack Ketchum, who, you know, I think Jack Ketchum is in a league all to his own in terms of grisly, like gut churning, disturbing content, but particularly in the novella Big Driver, I got some hints of Jack Ketchum. Very bleak, very pessimistic, very, very disturbing, very edge of your seat kind of stuff. One of the things that really stands out to me about Full Dark, No Stars is how realistic most of the pieces are. The first one, 1922, does have some supernatural elements, which is of course very welcome. It's a great story. It's very suspenseful, very spooky, very scary. But the other 3 pieces are they're very suspenseful, they're very scary, and they are very realistic. Like they feel like things that can and probably have happened. The final story, A Good Marriage, which I think has been adapted. I have a hard time keeping up with all of the Stephen King adaptations, but I think it was inspired by the BTK killer case. And, you know, just the idea, I was just on pins and needles the whole time that I was reading it. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's gut-wrenching, it's thought-provoking, and it's not really, there's not much supernatural stuff going on at all. So I think it's a very powerful collection of very powerful stories and represents something a little bit different than what you might expect from Stephen King. And it really does stand out as an absolute highlight of his bibliography, in my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on Full Dark, No Stars. Let me know in the comments what you think about this collection. Do you agree with my diagnosis, with my opinion that it's shoulder to shoulder with different seasons, or did it just not strike a chord with you for some reason? Let me know. I'm really curious to hear what you have to say, because to me, you know, a lot of his newer stuff, it just, a new book every year, at least one book a year, and the wave, it just keeps going. I mean, that roller coaster is going so fast that, you know, one book sinks in, you read it, and then before you know it, the next one is there, the next one is there. So, you know, he arguably hasn't generated something with the pop culture staying power of It or Firestarter or Cujo in the last few decades. But that doesn't mean there isn't still amazing high quality writing happening. And I think Full Dark, No Stars is a prime example of that. Tremendous depth and tremendous rewards for the constant reader. And if you haven't picked up this collection, if you've overlooked it for some reason, I highly recommend you check it out. But thank you for your time. Thanks to Noah, as always, for his help producing these videos. And take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you later. Bye.